very burbly indeed.
I miss pre-war sounds.
Yes. And just look how dainty the door handle is. This one went all over Europe raising money for charity just a couple of months ago. 6-volt oval window bug. Audio advance and retard.
Advance retard, hand throttle.
Hand throttle on there as well.
Yeah.
So the engine behind the front seats. Yeah, very bonny standard. I think it's a V4 apparently. Was Dad's old Morris Minor Traveller. That's a very smart example. Way to the Swettenham Arms evening meeting. It's a particularly fine evening. We are in the MX-5, not for the first time going to the Swettenham Arms. Be interesting to see what turns up. We've caught up with this pretty spectacular looking vintage saloon, but quite what it is we are not sure. We were following a Mark III Coupe S just a minute ago, and now we're following this magnificent old saloon. Yeah, sounds very burbly indeed.
I miss pre-war sounds.
Yes. All being well, it's going to the same place we are, in which case we'll be able to have a much closer look at this fantastic looking saloon, and I really am not sure what we're looking at there, but whatever it is fantastic.
Ooh, cobras.
Everyone's out tonight, it's fine weather. Well, good evening folks, we are at the Swettenham Arms for the regular weekly car meet, and it is a glorious evening. I'm not quite sure what time it is, but it's not late and it's already packed. We're going to be in for a great evening, I think. What do we have here? A glorious 1967 step nose Alfa Romeo. Is it one of the GTVs? It's one of the 105 series cars. But what a fantastic little car, and just look how dainty the door handle is. Isn't that just fantastic? I know someone who'll like that. He's a big fan of these 105 series cars. Wow, that is beautiful. It's a real mix of performance cars, enthusiast cars and classic cars. We'll try and show a little bit of everything and prioritise the older cars as always, including this wonderful little Mini 95 van on a V plate, so late 1970s this one. Super clean van. course, the earlier minivans used to have like a little roof vent just in the middle of the roof. But that had long gone by the time this one was produced by BL in the late 1970s. But what a cracker! Still with its original painted grille as well. So we like that a lot. Look at this, we were following this one in briefly. Mark III Mini Cooper S. Look at this, wow! A standard, a vintage standard, no less. Isn't that wonderful? Stunning old standard Tourer from the 1920s. Porsches too. Yeah, Mark III Mini Cooper S on a J plate, so about 1971 I would have thought. So quite a late example of a Cooper S, not long before they were replaced basically by the 1275 GT. No outside door hinges and wind-up windows on these, introduced with the Mark III. You've got the double gutter as well of the Mark III. And yes, twin tanks was an option on the Cooper S. Most of them seem to have the twin fuel tanks. Of course, larger rear lights compared to the earlier Mark 1s. Yeah, what a beautiful little car this is. Well, we've only been to a few of these meetings, but yeah, I've never seen it this busy before. We've got a gorgeous split window VW over here. Apologies for the shadows, but the sun's getting quite low in the sky. The Reliant Scimitar GTE, the SE5 or the SE5A. I'll try not to get my toe squashed by the Range Rover. Oh, yeah, GTE with overdrive, so the 3-litre Ford V6, the Essex engine. Here's the Lola Tribute coming in. We've seen this one here before. Got an all black Mercedes. Is it one of the Cosworth powered cars? It's a 2.6, very nice. Our little MX-5 is tucked over there. I just found a nice quiet little corner as we drove in, so I thought, right, that's an MX-5 size space. And here is that glorious, huge American saloon. Now what exactly is it? It is a Lincoln. So that answers that particular question. Left-hand drive. What a fantastic old girl this is. Here's that well-travelled Austin A35 that we've seen at the Commermere meeting once or twice. This one went all over Europe raising money for charity just a couple of months ago. And here's a front view of that glorious Lincoln. Absolutely glorious. The parabeam headlights. You often see really interesting names on the headlamp lenses of these vintage American cars. I see the bonnet is up, so I'll have to go and have a closer look. Wow, sorry. Look at that V8. What a monster. So side valve V8 engine. That's a bigger version really. Or similar in layout to our V8 Pilot. So you've got all the magneto on the front of the engine block there. Big V8s. Incredible. Isn't that just amazing? What an engine.
All the eggs came forward, all over the back of the red, all over the windscreen.
Little Yale lock on the door there. And that's what the youthful assistant is doing a video for his car traction channel, and I've tracked down the owner of this magnificent Lincoln. So what is the story with this one? What year is it?
Well, this is a 1927 Lincoln. And, Lincoln is an interesting company because it was started by a gentleman called Leyland.
Was it?
In 1919, just after the First World War.
Oh, right.
He was making engines, Liberty engines, and made a lot of money.
Aero engines. Yeah.
And they were a very high quality engine. And he made a lot of money and decided after to make a car, but he wanted to make the best car in the world.
Oh, right.
And this is the product of what he made.
Is it?
Unfortunately, by 1922, he was going out of business because nobody could afford them. These cars in the 1920s were $5,000. You could buy a Rolls Royce for $4,000.
Wow.
And you could buy a Model A for $350.
Yes.
So it gives you a bit of an idea. A very expensive car.
Indeed, yeah.
So Henry Ford came to see Leyland and said, well, because he was going bust, do you want to sell it? So Henry bought the company, and Edsel ran it for many years. And now, the top Lincolns, top Fords are Lincoln cars.
Right, got you.
That's where the name came from.
Yeah, it's an incredible car. So presumably very torquey. You never have to change down.
No, you don't. It's only 3 forward gears.
Is it 3-speed?
And it ticks over beautifully around 300 RPM. It's about 100 horsepower.
Is it?
V8, 6.8 litre.
6.8.
Yeah, it's bags and bags of torque.
Wow.
Wooden wheels.
Yes, I
wheels.
had wheels like that on my Dodge. Yeah, just like that.
Apparently, you've got to keep them moist or linseed oil them because it can dry out, and then you've got problems with the spokes.
I'm sure.
So I'm learning as I go along.
Yeah. So you didn't go out with the idea of buying something like this then?
No, very much an impulse purchase. I went to an auction looking at another car and saw this in the corner, fell in love with it, had a good look round it, didn't know anything about them, but just saw the engineering, fell in love with it, and next thing I bought it.
As you do,
Brought it home. It was running, brought it home, but it sounded like a tractor.
Right.
It got a hole in the exhaust just near the manifold. So the only job I've had to do is just put a piece of pipe on the sort the manifold out.
So has it been over here a long time, or had it just been brought
here
over?
In 2017.
Right.
A gentleman in the Cotswolds owned it.
Yeah.
And these were one of the fastest cars on the road at the time. So
I bet they were.
loved them.
Yeah, I bet they do. I mean, this is quite a. So it's 6.8, you say?
6.8 litres.
Wowzers, that is quite a. Yeah, so we've got a Ford V8 Pilot, so that's got a flathead Ford V8, but it's obviously slightly smaller than it. Well, it's about half the size of this probably.
Very similar technology.
Yes.
Very similar.
Yeah. No, that's an absolutely gorgeous car. The size of the fan as well, and the radiator is huge, isn't it?
Everything's over-engineered.
Yeah.
Literally over-enginered.
But they had to do distances,
these days,
didn't they?
They didn't have chrome, it was nickel.
Nickel,
so everything's nickel-plated.
Yes.
You can buff it up. If you get a bit of white, you can buff it up, but I tend just to leave it all.
It's just all mellowed into what you see now, isn't it?
Matches the rest of the car.
Yeah.
I'll open it up, that dashboard.
Oh right, let's have a quick peek inside. Is it? Oh wow. Oh, I see, nickel-plated dash as well. Can I clamber in? Can I just have a quick sit in here? Just have a proper look. Oh, dear. Wow.
The usual gauges. We've even got a Waltham clock. So
there's the wind under there, is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
The speedo is absolutely accurate to within a mile an hour. Unbelievable. Yeah, we tried it with a GPS. Absolutely bob on. You've got an ammeter, oil pressure's good.
Little fuel gauge.
Struggling with the fuel gauge. It's not wired, it's cable operated. So the cable comes out of the tank.
No way. Oh wow.
All the way through to the front here. So it obviously needs a bit of freeing off just to get that working.
Yeah. No, that's glorious. And you've got the advance and retard.
Hand throttle.
Hand throttle on there as well.
Yeah.
Isn't that just?
And then down here, you've got a choke over there.
Oh yeah, got you.
Got some lights there, little dashboard light.
Oh, very nice.
Here.
Oh, lovely.
Which is quite unusual.
This is the dash light here, isn't it? So you rotate it.
Yes, you can. Yeah, shine where you want.
Got you.
Turn it off or whatever.
That is beautiful. And what a view down the bonnet.
And then the rear, I think, is lovely as well. They've actually got a combined breather and interior light in the back. It's quite unusual.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
That is an interior light, and there's lovely little brass switches in the door pillars.
And it's a ventilator.
To turn it on and off.
And it's a ventilator as well.
And there's a ventilator scoop on the roof as well. So
wow, that is just. Well, what a view down the bonnet. That is just phenomenal. Wow, what a treat. Thanks so much. Well, thanks so much for the quick guided tour of this fantastic car. I love that. I love cars of this era, and I like saloons as well. You just don't seem to see quite as many of them. But
they're not as, perhaps as popular.
No, I think
that's the era and the engineering.
Yeah, it's beautifully made. Everything is just right, isn't it? No, that's a real treat to see that.
So you can prime it. with petrol. So on a cold morning,
So you can put a squirt
you can
in.
prime it and just give each cylinder a little bit of petrol,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
it's an easier start.
Have you tried starting on the handle yet? Or?
No, there's one in there if you'd like to try.
No, it's all right. I'm good, thanks. But no, isn't that great? So the exhaust comes out the centre here.
In the middle, yeah. It's
Wow.
really cramped
Yeah,
because
it
your
must get-
intake is in the middle as well.
So the intake's
You're
down there.
Yeah, very cramped.
Wow.
It's not ideal.
No.
You all that heat next to the carburettor.
Yes. Yeah, it's funny because obviously usually you thought the exhaust would be down.
They realised it was more sensible to bring the gases out across the head.
Right. Got you. Yeah.
That was a
Later sort of thing, wasn't it?
Early days, that's what
Yeah. That's all pocketing all that heat in there, isn't it?
massive.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering whether it'd be worth actually lagging that, whether I can get some lagging.
What you've got to watch with cast manifolds, it can crack them. 'Cause if they get too hot, you can crack the manifold.
Probably better leave it
So
alone.
I'd get into shielding rather than lagging. You know.
It must affect the carburettor.
It must do, mustn't it? But yeah,
But they
phenomenal.
put and the water, massive water feed down to the, pretty hot down to the cylinder head.
Yeah. Yeah, like you say, this was the sort of era where they hadn't really sort of standardised a way of thinking it. So are the gears in the normal position?
They are,
Because on the Dodge they were like back to front.
I know.
The pedals were wrong, and the gears were wrong as well.
Right, well, pedals are right.
Are they?
Pedals are right on it.
Right.
The gears are no. It's top left is reversed, bottom left first, top right second, bottom
it.
right third.
Right. Yeah.
Now on the Model A, it's the other way around. That one's got you go forwards for the second, sorry, forwards for the back for the second and forwards for the third.
I can't remember that.
Yeah,
'Cause
Model A
used
is
to-
slightly different.
Yeah, I used to have an AA truck.
Oh yeah, they're nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. But no, this is just a phenomenal car. I've never seen one of these before. Yeah, that definitely is a glorious old car, that fantastic old Lincoln. Right, let's carry on, have a look, see what we can see. We've got a Skoda Favorit, slightly lowered Skoda Favorit over here. Now, before we head off in that kind of direction, past MX-5 Mark 1, actually it's a Unos, one of the Japanese imports, but basically the same car. But before we head over there, I think we will just go over here and just make sure we don't miss anything over this way before we get too carried away with the main car park. There's a Royal Enfield Interceptor. So this is one of the Indian-built Royal Enfields. An organisation over in India bought the rights, I believe, to Royal Enfield. For a while, when they built these bikes over in India, they didn't have the Royal. There was just Enfield. And then in more recent times, for whatever reason, somehow, obviously they gained the rights to be able to badge them up as Royal Enfields, just like the original British-built bikes. So that's quite a cool thing. Now, what is this over here? I have no idea what that is. It's certainly different. And here, a little MG midget. Another VW Beetle. This one a left-hand drive, slopey headlights, 6-volt oval window bug. Certainly getting very, very, very busy here this evening at the Swettenham Arms. What a super popular meet this is. I mean, this is the best weather for any of the meets that we've been to so far, and this is by far the biggest turnout. There's that black 190E, short wheelbase Land Rover Defender. Or is it a Defender? Maybe not, it could be a Series 3 going off the K registration. And we've got a military Land Rover here, one on a long wheelbase, about 1984. And if memory serves, these tended to have 24-volt electrics, unlike your civilian Landys, which are on the regular 12. The Bentley Continental GT, 2005. The Jaguar XJ. And talking of Jaguar XJs, we have a Series 3. This is a car that we have seen here and there, Goresworth Hall, and this was a regular at the Crew Heritage Meets, which seem to have gone a bit quiet of late. Yeah, lovely to see that here today. We always like a nice old Jag. The Rover 90, a two-tone Rover 90, one of the P4 series cars. Very nice car indeed. Honda Integra Type R alongside that. And a great little Mini over here. What do we have over here? Bright yellow and white two-tone Ford Consul Capri, the original Ford Capri. Very nice 911 Carrera alongside that. Proper one, air cooled. But let's have a look at this Capri. This is the kind of thing we like. Fetching shade, almost like a primrose yellow kind of thing. It's got a 63 tax disc in the window, so I'm guessing that's roughly the age of the car we are looking at here. We've got a window open, so that means one thing. Let's have a peer inside. Nice period parts list on the back seat. Yeah, what a groovy car this is. So these were sold alongside the saloons, the Consul Classic Saloon, which was available as a 2 and a 4 door. And look at this magnificent V8 Mercedes here. Is this a 300 SE? Could be. Yeah, what a cracking car that is. And still they pour in cars and motorcycles. I hope no one in the middle here wants to leave anytime soon. We've got a left-hand drive Corvette over here. Porsche, a Lotus. Really tasty little Elise. Well, 2 of them make that 2. Registration on the green one, go, go, go. Very neat. And look at this. Renault 5 Turbo. One of the original Renault 5 Turbos with the engine behind the front seats. Name on the wing there, Ragnotti, Jean Ragnotti, French rally driver. These were designed very much with a Group B rally era in mind of the 1980s. Great registration number on it as well. But yeah, and just like our 4CV with the engine behind the seats, this has got the air intakes on the leading edge of the back wings. So that's to force air through the radiators in the back, just like the 4CV. So yeah, so that's the only sort of similarity really between the two, and there is the engine hung out in the tail. Wow.
And then brand new Ferraris.
Very cool car indeed.
Yeah.
I do like that.
I think one of us is going to have to find a table and wait.
Right, let's carry on our little stroll around the car park here. We've got a Thames 307E, the Anglia era Ford Thames. This one's a 500 weight according to the badge on the front. It's a 1/4 ton payload capacity. I think they did a 700 weight version as well. Obviously this one is majorly tuned, many modifications. Got a Burton tuned engine in there with twin Webers. Got a Jaguar, one of the X308s. We're on familiar territory with this one. If you've been watching the channel recently, you'll know exactly why that is. Always good to see one of those. Some modern cars here. A couple of nice TVRs, we'll have a look at those after. Fiat Panda 100 horsepower over here. MGB Roadster, chrome bumper, 1966. There's a front view of the Mark 1 Mazda Unos. So this would originally have been a Japanese market car that's been brought over here in more recent times. Our second MX-5 was actually a Unos, very similar to this, also in bright red. The advantage of the Japanese import cars is that they don't spread salt on the roads apparently over there, so you tend to get less of the rotten sill and wheel arch problems that tend to afflict many of the UK market cars. The downside is apparently they didn't put much rust proofing on these, so when you bring these over from Japan, if you don't protect them fairly quickly, they will start to rust. But yeah, really nice looking little car. So let's just go for a stroll around here. We've got a TVR 350T, pretty wild looking car with the Targa roof panels removed. Blackpool's finest, of course, TVR. TVR from the first name, the Christian name of the gentleman that set up the firm way back. Trevor was his first name, and that's where TVR came from. So we're looking at a Trevor 350 there. Renault Megane, Porsche, got an M3 cabriolet over here, a 4-seater M3 based on the E36 3 series. And here are the two TVRs. Great Chimera. Have we seen this one before? The colour, this sort of metallic-y green, is almost the same as the Aston Martin sports racing cars of the 1950s, like the DB3S, the DB3, DBR1 of the late 1950s. Yeah, it's a very, very fetching shade of green. I do like that. Got a very trim M3 version of the E40 series there. We'll just skip these moderns. We have to keep our eyes peeled for interesting things coming and going. At the end of the row here, in front of the great little Mini 95 van, is this well-travelled Austin A35, complete with side exiting exhaust. There we go. Raising money for the Northwest Air Ambulance charity. Yeah, this has been all over Europe, this has. Incredible little car, this is. Over here, Porsche Boxster. A Boxster S, no less. Got a VW Jetta over here. So effectively, four-door saloon version of the hatchback VW Golf. I think these have got their own following. Yeah, a bit more interesting maybe than the Golf. Got a really clean E46 3 Series estate here. So that's 2002, so 22 years old that car now. Really smart looking car, I think. Okay, 911 here. Try and find all the older metal, because I know that's what you all like to see. We've got a what's it? A Mitsubishi Evo there, Subaru Impreza over here, and a mighty Mustang over here, which is for sale. The Mach 1 Mustang here in convertible form. Pretty hefty set of wheels and tyres on the back, a little wing on the boot as well, or on the trunk rather. In this quiet corner of the car park here, we are back to civilised matters and the Rover 100. Another example of the Rover P4, this one in two-tone green, and a very handsome looking motor car indeed, adorned with some extra Lucas lamps on the front as well, just for a bit of added excitement. Lovely original leather bench seat in there. How inviting does that look? Very, very nice. RAC guide for 1963 just over there. That's the kind of detail we like. Real quality car. Tow bar as well, so perfect for towing your vintage caravan. Well, post-war classic caravan perhaps. Nice old radio in there as well, or wireless set as it should be called. Yeah. Even smells just right. And next to that, great little example of the Mini Cooper on an R plate, so late 1990s this one. Ace little car, that very, very nice too. Cooper stripes on the bonnet. Morgan over here, I've got a feeling this is a V8, looking at those sizable exhaust pipes sticking out of the back, although the number plate says V6, so maybe we'll go with V6 then. Either way, it's a V engine. Perfect for an evening just like this. Those bonnet pulls, those can trace their roots back to the old Ford Pop. Right, anything along here? Not really, although there is. No, just lurking over here. We'll just go past this little Fiat 500. We have a Toyota Century. Wowzers, these V12 I think, aren't they? Are these V12 powered? I've got a feeling they are. This one's on an R plate, so late 1990s. I think it's a Century, I could be wrong. It's very similar, yeah, V12, there we go. This, I think we may have seen one of these at Goresworth a few months ago. Yeah, the Toyota Century. A very upmarket car indeed. Looks quite, almost like a 1970s Toyota Crown if I'm honest. But it's a lot later than that, but this was really quite an exclusive car made in very small numbers I imagine. And I'm guessing this was probably a private import at some point in time. Busy, and over here we have the fiberglass bodied Reliant Scimitar, the SS1 Scimitar. This one's on an F registration, so that puts it late 80s, about 88s, thereabouts. Pop-up headlights, so we approve of that. We like our pop-up headlamps here at OCC HQ. Hard top fitted to this one. Another little Mini Cooper tucked away over here on a pretty fruity looking set of JDW or JBW rims. Yeah, very. That looks super cool. It's just slightly lowered with the Group 2 arches on it. Yeah. That looks really nice. That colour really sets off the chrome a treat. Here is that wonderful 1920s standard, very distinctive shape, the header tank on the radiator on these vintage standards. There you go, standard of Coventry. Of course, think standard now and you think maybe basic, bog standard, entry level, but no, this was all to do with high standard, setting the standard. So that was the reasoning behind that name. Of course, after the Second World War in the 40s, Standard actually bought out the Triumph Motor Car Company. That big were they. It was a really big established company, but the name disappeared in the 1960s and Triumph kind of took over.
But again, yeah, it's yeah, he was a bit of a wild lad.
Yeah, very bonny standard. I think it's a V4 apparently. That's the model name. It's not a V4 engine, but it's just that's the model name. There was also the SLO4. So there's 2 or 3 different models of standards in the 1920s. This one is up for sale apparently. Next to that we have a Carman gear, the VW powered Carman gear. This one dropped to the floor, so presumably on air suspension. If it's not on air suspension, then it's probably not getting off this car park. Oh, what a beautiful paint finish on that. Really, that lovely dark midnight blue sets off the chrome a treat. E36 3 Series Coupe. One of the 7 Series, one of the Chris Bangle era 7 Series BMWs. Slightly controversial styling when these came out. It wasn't for everyone. Subaru just parking up. Got a Skyline GTR over the back there, but let's keep looking for the older cars, see what we can find. Mazda, like that, one of the latest RX-7s, rotary engine, sound good. Great looking car actually. I always thought these, if you took those badges off, you could also pass that off, almost pass that off. It's like a 1990s E-Type almost. I think if Jaguar had built that, I don't think you would have been too upset if you saw Jaguar badges on something that shape. I just think it's a good looking car. The way the curves, there are just so many curves going on it, and the way the back window wraps around as well. I just think that is a really cool thing. I really like that. I think that could easily pass for a Jaguar of the 1990s. Right, let's carry on along. Here we have, what do we have here? E39 5 Series BMW over here. Very nice too, very handsome looking car. These and the E46 3 Series, last of the really good looking Beamers I think. Very big Porsche 911 GT2 RS I'm told, according to the sticker on the door. That's all I know about that. Okay, what's that? Is that really a Ferrari Testa Rossa? Could well be. A V12 Ferrari Testa Rossa or Redhead. So my youthful assistant, who has a much better memory than I do, says we actually saw this down at Bicester recently, this little Ferrari Testa Rossa. So that's quite a special car, sports racer of the 1950s, front engine V12, pretty wild. I'm assuming these are Barani wheels.
I don't know. It's had another red on it. It's sort of late 50s, early 60s.
That really is something else.
Very good.
Look at the wicked exhaust as well.
Right, well that was a bit of a treat seeing that Testa Rossa. Right, let's carry on round here. Got another Mini here, very, very nicely turned out one. So it's registered in the early 70s. What a great little car that is. Absolutely stunning little car that is. Earlier badging as well. Next to that, the Wolseley Hornet, which of course was a derivative of the original Mini. Very closely related, but with added boot. Same as the Riley Elf, really. The shape was identical as far as I know. There goes the SS1. Yeah, this Wolseley is just lovely. Look at the recreated dealer supplier sticker in the back window there for JC Beetle Limited of Dartford in Kent, so other end of the country. Got a Triumph motorcycle over here. The X308 Jag, the V8 Jag is leaving, or at least it's hoping to. Carefully negotiating the Mark I Golf on the end of the row there. Very familiar V8 burble to that one. Right, so let's carry on over here. There's a glorious 6-volt Beetle. Very, very swish. I love the paint on that. Full length roof in this one as well. Oval window. Yeah, lovely. There you go. Semaphore turn signals. That'll keep you on your toes. No flashing indicators on this. Just these lovely, really dainty little rear lights. The stop tail lights. And a little, quite small actually, a little pop-up semaphore indicators on the top of the B pillar there. Yeah. Great looking car there. Such a variety of cars here, it's incredible. And the pub is heaving. It's all very agreeable, these evening meets, they're getting so popular now. We've got another early MX-5 here, and this is a UK spec, I believe. Another way of identifying the UNOS imports is they have a different shaped plinth where the number plate goes. So that's another giveaway. And on the UK market cars like ours and this one, this is sort of blended in to the bottom of the rear bumper. The Japanese market cars didn't have a fog light, so whoever imports them, whoever brings the UNOS in, they have to just bolt their own fog light on and wire it in. And they always look a bit more of an afterthought than the factory offering, which is what you see there. But yeah, this is the Harvard limited edition version on an R plate, so a little bit newer than ours, but otherwise very, very similar. This has leather seats, whereas we do not, but it also has the keep fit windows and manual windows just like we've got, so at least we've got that in common. Yeah. Great to see these. You'd always see one or two MX-5s at these events we get to, and I can see a car that's very familiar, but not this one. This is an incredible VW buggy, a bit like the old Myers Manx buggies. Maybe it's one of those, not quite sure. But yeah, air-cooled VW engine in the back there. Or is it a Porsche? Could be, I suppose. Anyway, I want to go over here because my eye has been drawn to this Morris Minor Traveller, because this was Dad's old Morris Minor Traveller. I remember this one well. He brush painted those back wings. He sold it, what, 3-4 years ago, something like that. Obviously now he's got the MGB GT, but before that he had this 1967 Morris Minor Traveller. This was his runabout, and it was this great little car. It's so reliable. It was such a reliable little car, this was. That I remember this one well. I drove it once or twice. All the original wood, very original car actually. That's a good user, not immaculate by any means. It's just a good, usable Moggy Traveller. Yeah, I remember this one well. We've also got a Pagoda Roof SL. I think we've seen this one here before. Beautiful quality car. Is this the 280 SL? Could well be. Got some very period looking static seat belts over there. We like that kind of thing. It's got a Radiomobile radio. Automatic box. You can hear a VW engine. Harley spotted it as well. Got a 911 turbo. Bit of Ferrari action over here. Really nice Beetle. Complete with a pair of Cibier lamps on the front. The Mitsubishi there, the bright red one. But I wanted to see this Porsche. I haven't seen this before. This is Porsche 356. The Porsche that's badged up as the 1600 Super. Left-hand drive, brought in from the US of A. And if this is anything to go by, it came from Beverly Hills. So, presumably brought in more recent times. It's got the Automobile Club de l'Ouest badge on the rear panel there. That's the organisation behind the very famous Le Mans 24-hour race. Oh, lovely car, very sleek. Oh, just incredible shape. And the way all the panels just are blended in together. Presumably it's all lead loaded. But yeah, you haven't got any seams. On lesser cars, you'd be seeing a seam along there, and down there, and around there, and around there. But not on these. Just a phenomenal looking car. I can hear the distinctive burble of Grandad's old Morris Minor, so let's go and have a look at it before it leaves. We've even got a Toyota Hilux. Alright, back to 356. Let's have a look at the front. Go and admire the shapely front of this. And again, all blended in beautifully. No seams around here or anything like that. All leaded in, presumably. Steel bodywork, I believe. Yeah, just lovely, simple, uncluttered lines, and that's what makes it just so appealing compared to the later Porsches, which I think have lost a lot of that purity of line which you see on these early cars. That's just a really stunningly simple, stunningly effective looking bodywork. Obviously very, I think so. Yeah, very wind cheating design. But yeah, just really lovely car. Yeah, there's just some phenomenal cars here this evening for a meeting that's just a couple of hours long. That so many phenomenal cars have come out and owners have brought them out. It's just really gratifying to see. The weather really helps, but yeah, these meets are just fantastic. Let me know in the comments which of the cars featured here you would want to be taking home. Maybe it would be this immaculate Triumph TR6 over here. That really is a Bobby Dazzler. Right, let's carry on over here because I see the curvaceous rump of one of Sir William Lyons' finest. The car that the XK straight six engine made its debut in. The wonderful Jaguar XK, the XK120. And this is a particularly swoopy, wonderful example. And the separate lamps on top of the wings there suggest that this is probably one of the alloy-bodied cars. The very first XK120s were aluminium bodied, and this was the engine that the XK engine was first fitted to. William Lyons always thought it was a good idea to trial these new engines in sort of fairly low volume sports cars just to make sure everything was right before installing them in saloons. So when the XK120 first came out, it was always envisaged just to be just a fairly low volume, low production sports car to trial the XK engine. But it proved so popular that they couldn't keep up with demand, and producing alloy bodies in the numbers that were required, apparently it wasn't really feasible. So then they switched to steel coachwork on the 120 roadsters like this, and also on the fixed head coupes. If you've been around the channel for a little while, you remember I helped a mate of mine collect his very rusty XK120 and it's a car that he is in the middle of restoring at the moment. So if you like your old Jaguars, as I do, check out that upload. If you do a search across the channel for XK120, you'll find it, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how he's getting on with that car. He is getting on with it, and hopefully it won't be too long before it's back on the road. But this is a glorious example, still with the original removable spats over the back wheels as well, and it's on the painted steel, the body colour wheels as well. There's no chrome wires, which would just be a bit over OTT, but lovely looking, lovely deep sidewalls on those tyres as well, which just look right on an XK. Right hand drive, just a beautiful looking car. That is really stunning car. That must have really wowed the crowds at the 1948 Earl's Court Motor Show when this was announced. Other notable cars of 1948, of course, the original Series 1 Land Rover and the post-war Morris Minor MM, the low-light Morris Minor. Talking of Land Rovers, there's a Series 2 over there behind the TR6. Let's go and have a quick look at that. Tucked away in the corner here, green against green, pretty camouflaged. Nice early interior in these Series 2s or 2As. Let's have a look around the front. I think this is a 2A, yes. They look pretty similar to the Series 2, although the shape of this panel here, this is curved. And I've got a feeling the Series 2 is like a flatter slope to it. Otherwise pretty similar. And talking of Land Rovers, now this car over here we have seen here before. This MG TD, it's a left-hand drive, it's coming from America, it's super original. I think we've seen this one at Avro Heritage before now, but yeah, what a great survivor car this is. Well, the bonnet is up now on the Unos, and this is very familiar territory. I was buried under here on mine not so long ago inspecting the cam belt. Yeah, all very familiar territory indeed. Funny if this trunking over the front is slightly different to ours. Maybe it's a Unos versus UK market thing. So one or two subtle differences, but basically the same thing. I spy over here next to the split window VW, another Mini, this one with a full length sunroof in it. It's on a private registration number, so we can't tell the date from that there. It's an Irish registration number, that one.
The kit car thing is going. That's going.
Again, another very bonny little Mini. Quick skip inspection. Maybe this would be your choice, this glorious little Alfa Romeo, or perhaps the fiberglass bodied Scimitar GTE. That would make for a very usable car with that lusty 3-litre Ford engine in the front. I do actually like these. I think these would make a great regular user. Although being fiberglass bodied, I imagine you'd have to keep on top of the electrics. Earthing can be a bit of an issue in cars that don't have steel coachwork apparently. Yeah, that's a very smart example. No obvious gel cracks cracking in the fiberglass bodywork, which can plague some fiberglass bodied cars, but yeah, this one looks really nice. I know when these cars were first built, the bodies on some of these Scimitars, they were left outside by the factory for quite an extended period of time. They got quite wet. And I think when they were painted, there was still a bit of moisture left in the bodywork. Maybe if you're a Scimitar expert, you can sort of fill me in a little bit on this. But I do have vague recollections that the paint surface did suffer on some of these when they were new, because the bodies had been stored outside in the damp for a little while, and they weren't fully dry when they were actually painted at the factory over in Tamworth in Staffordshire, which is where Reliance were based at the time. This recreation of the Lola is just something else. To run this as a road car must just be such a hoot. I imagine the rear visibility through that tiny little window is probably not great, but what a phenomenal looking car that is. Quite a few Ferraris here. Next to the minivan, this is a new arrival in a very similar colour to the Little Austin in front. Is an Escort. This one, now usually you'd see RS2000 in this style of script at the back. And this one's been very neatly done to tell us that this has a Cosworth prepared engine under its bonnet, so many things non-standard. Yeah. Tasty looking Mark II Escort. Very nice. And over here, an MG ZT. What's that? 2003, the ZT. So this was the MG souped up slightly version of the Rover 75. And of course there was a ZTT as well, which was the Tourer or the estate version as well. Interesting car. Now this beautiful little Lancia. I didn't see this one arriving, but we have seen this one here before. It is a stunning, super original ex-Italian market left-hand drive 1.3 litre Lancia Fulvia, so front wheel drive V4 engine, but it is just a beautifully original looking car. Really tasty. And, you see so many of these and they've been done up as rally cars, that kind of thing, but this is just a beautifully original road car, and that's what makes it particularly special. Yeah, just lovely lines, like I was saying with that Porsche 356 Coupe before. Just fantastic, uncluttered lines, just elegant, simple. Nothing that doesn't need to be there, really. Loads of glass, dead easy to see out, dead easy to park. None of these silly modern things which are totally reliant in many cases on the reversing cameras. And what do you do when the reversing cameras and the reverse sensors stop working? Yep, you're stuffed. But yeah, what a great car that is. It looks fab next to the little Mini, the Coupe S that we were looking at before. This Evo looks like it means business. And the best colour as well. And over here, a restored Land Rover 90. Slightly lifted up on its springs. Is that a galvanised chassis under there? I suspect it probably is, but super clean Landy. Yeah. All new canvas top on it as well. Of course, a distant relative to this behind it. Engine is running on the vintage standard. Here's a reminder of the newfangled craze for turbocharging performance cars in the range. Here we have a Capri 280 Brooklands with Turbo Technics badge on the back. That's a name I remember from the past. Turbo conversions were available for a number of cars in their catalogue, and presumably this 2.8 litre Capri is fitted with an aftermarket turbocharger by Turbo Technics. So yes, no doubt that packs quite the punch. Bit of precision reversing going on here to avoid the front of a Ferrari. This is a car that we've seen and admired at a number of classic car gatherings. What a beauty that is. Got the bonnets up on the Wolseley Hornet and the Mini alongside. This one, if you've seen some of the Crew Heritage videos, you'll recognise this car. That is a supercharger lifted off a Mercedes-Benz SLK, and it's been shoehorned under the bonnet of this Wolseley Hornet. It's a proper sleeper.
What era of SLK? I didn't know it was
That's one of the early SLKs. Yeah. What a great looking car.
80s.
I don't know, like 90s, aren't they probably?
That looks a lot older though.
It's been painted
the green.
painted BMC green.
I didn't know that.
It's a really neat
I
installation.
thought it was like a Cheshire car.
And there's many mods under the bonnet of this one as well.
That's supercharged.
This has got a supercharger on it too.
I'll be around at
Still running quietly to itself.
Why does it remind me of a tractor engine? I don't know why. Maybe it's the low idle. This is great.
P4 is manoeuvring its way out from behind the restored Land Rover here.
Maze.
All fitted by Craig. Emerald ECU. Emerald ECU.
This Nissan Silvia we have seen at a previous meeting here, and over here I have a Mark II Escort Mexico. Here's something a little bit different for the meeting here today at the Swettenham Arms. The rally prepared 16 valve Peugeot 205 GTI rally car 1.9 according to the badge on the back anyway. Yeah, that looks like, well, that looks very purposeful indeed. C-Reg, so that puts it about 1985. Yeah, let's have a quick peer inside. Some quick release pins on the back.
890 kilos with a full tank.
890 kilos, whoa. So that's a bit different.
Toolkit and a gun under there to get the wheels.
Oh, you hide it all in there, is it?
It's direct onto the jack.
Oh, I see, right. Yeah. So have you built this up yourself? Or?
Yes, on my drive.
On your driveway. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. So what's the story with the engine then? If we go and have a look at the engine, let's go and have a look round at the business end of this little 205 and we'll get the lowdown on what's been going on under here. So what engine is this then?
That is an XU9J4, originally from a Citroen BX GTI 16, commonly known as the MI16 engine.
So is it the 405 MI16? Same engine, right.
1.9 alloy block.
Because people used to break those for the engines, didn't they, going back a bit? Yeah, I remember those. Yeah.
The gearbox is 1.9 2A5 GTI, but with a diesel crown wheel and pinion. 4.93, so
I see.
tops out at about 110 28 mile an hour. That's when it's bouncing off the rev limiter at 7.8.
Wow, wowzers.
Yeah.
Right, so what sort of competition use do you put this to?
It's
then?
tarmac rally.
Tarmac rallying,
Tarmac
okay.
rally,
Right.
It was. I've reshelled it over while I was on furlough.
Oh, did you?
I rolled it 3.5 times.
Oh, did you?
So it's now come back with electric power steering from a Corsa.
Oh, right,
Heated windscreen. It's 100mm wider than a standard 205.
Is it? Because of all this going on here, presumably?
Well, it's
And the track's wider.
that's why they're on top.
Yeah.
Otherwise you'd be
So you got wider track. Right,
It's
got you.
bespoke wishbones,
Is it?
all rose jointed in situ, adjustable for caster and camber,
So is,
adjustable at the top for caster and
so is
camber.
all this kind of thing, can you buy this stuff off the shelf, or do you have
No,
to
I
adapt
had
everything to make it?
Well, it's running 406 wheelbearing housings,
Oh, right.
405 drive shafts,
Yeah.
the 406 brake calipers.
Right.
It's got Bilstein ride-out adjustable dampers on the front, three-way adjustable remote reservoir Rigers on the back.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So you've really gone to town on it
Yeah,
then?
it's Saxo kit car spoiler on the back, and it's just it's bloody awesome.
I bet it is, yeah, I bet it is. So what sort of, presumably you've had it on the rolling road,
Yes, it was just shy of 210 horse.
was it?
Yeah.
And something that weighs, what was it, 850?
890.
890 kilograms.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to bob along, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. So,
So what's it like for like torque steer? Because I know like in the 80s,
minute, it's suffering a little bit with bump steer.
bump steer, right?
But with it having a plated diff in it as well, they can be a little bit snatchy. So
Can they?
there's a bit more to do on the bump steer.
Right, just watching this reversing here, getting a bit close.
Get it on
getting a bit
camera.
close, yeah, getting a bit close. There we go. And the mighty Mercedes is off as well. Watch your back, there's a Porsche moving. Yeah, it's a really great looking car.
Yeah.
So how long have you had it then? In
First
total?
bought the car in 2003.
Did you?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
and built it to do the Touramore Rally, which I did as my first event.
Yeah.
And that is a monster event.
Was it?
Monster event. Yeah, you're looking at 150 competitive miles, about 450 in total.
Yeah.
Starts Friday night, finishes Sunday morning.
Wow.
So big, massive event. But
And you
been
did-
out to my reach price wise now that event is.
Is it? All right. And you did all this on your drive?
Yeah, all on my drive.
Watch your backs. So Boxster Spider just backing out here. Yeah, a bit of Porsche manoeuvring.
Yeah, well, I've just
Ferrari and a Land Rover, 67 Land Rover Series 2 or 2A. A lot of manoeuvring going on. So. Yeah, what a great little Peugeot 205 rally car.
this car but before I rolled it.
There we go, the driver's cockpit. Wow. That's a lot of work, isn't it? You know, I mean, it must take forever replacing all the switchgear, the instrumentation, getting it to work.
Well, the whole reshelling process took me, well, start to finish, took me 4 years. But then I was dodging rain showers, work.
God.
When I was on furlough, it was great, but I didn't have the money to do it.
No.
And then when I was back at work, I'd got the money, but I hadn't got the time. So it's got bias adjustable brakes, it's got adjustable on the, I can set the assistance with on the steering with that one.
Oh,
I can adjust
see.
the brakes front to rear on
That's
that one.
front to rear.
Yeah.
And what's that? HL, high, low?
There's, heavy and light on the steering.
Oh, that's the steering, sorry, right. Oh, blimey. Wow. Yeah. So when are you next out in it?
Just waiting for its new MSA UK passport to come,
Oh,
and
I
then
see,
I
right,
should be
good.
looking to do an event.
Yeah.
But the Argyll and Butte rally, which will be on in June next year,
Oh, yeah, that sounds nice.
that was a really good event, very similar to the Touramore,
Was it?
but cheaper.
Well, I'm told this XJ6 that we have seen all over the place is actually up for sale, apparently. Certainly a very clean example of the breed. Early 1980s, the registration on this one, it's got the headlamp wipers on it as well. Yeah, very clean car indeed, very nice. More delicate reversing and manoeuvring. Yeah. If you're parked in the middle of the car park, you don't want to be going anywhere in a hurry, but what a fantastic turnout of cars this evening. Yeah, I think we're okay over in the corner there, but there's just been a bit of everything here. From sporty Porsches, old roadsters like this MGTD, we've got a little van here, we've got the XK120, various Beetles, an incredible Ferrari, which I believe is built up in more recent times, but in period proper Ferrari parts. So it's a bit of a homage to the original Testa Rossas, and a glorious car nonetheless. And that fantastic Lincoln that we saw before, we followed in, it's already left, so we were so lucky to see that here just an hour or so ago. But what an incredible car that Lincoln was. Hopefully we'll see that again somewhere at one of these shows that we get to.
And I can remember that when they were going for that. Like sat on the table and all expensive like
Put a tiger in your tank.
Right, I'm with you now.
Well folks, there are a few gaps in the car park now, so I think we've probably seen most of what's going to be here this particular evening at the Swettenham Arms in sunny Cheshire. So thank you very much for watching this particular video. It's been an incredible meeting. For just like a 2-hour meeting on a Tuesday evening in July, it's been an incredible variety of cars, bit of everything, something for all tastes hopefully, and hopefully you found this video of interest. Please check out some of the other uploads on the channel, because there are hundreds, literally hundreds and hundreds of videos on here now. So please have a look around. If you like your classic British cars, all sorts of things really, there's a bit of everything on here, so please check it out. Give the video a like if this was of interest. Maybe even subscribe to the channel if you'd like to keep up with future uploads, because there are plenty planned and there'll be many, many more videos along very, very soon. So bye for now. Let's fire up the mighty MX-5.